Welcome to the Chaos Quotient, an original sci-fi series exploring broken realities, artificial intelligence, and anomalies outside the record. If you enjoy the story, please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Chapter 3: Static Bloom. Sol stepped from the tangent line into green so dense it looked painted on, then the vines moved. The seam closed behind him, leaving only a faint shimmer in the air and the sharp scent of metallic rain. Moss carpeted the ground in lush, living layers that swelled and shrank with breath-like rhythms. The air was thick with humidity and strange spores that glowed faintly blue. From the dense underbrush, trees twisted up toward the fractured sky, their limbs too fluid, their movements too purposeful. Something shifted above, and Sol instinctively ducked. A thick vine shot out, snapped closed on nothing, then retreated back into the canopy like a hand disappointed by an empty snatch. He straightened slowly. Not the welcoming committee I was hoping for. Codex's voice came through his glasses, a soft hum in his ear. Environmental analysis initializing. Please remain stationary. I wasn't planning to tango, Sol muttered, eyes scanning the underbrush. Jungle wasn't just alive, it was observant. Every movement seemed reactive. Vines tensed like muscles preparing to spring. Petals tracked his presence like eyes. The entire forest behaved more like a living organism than a collection of independent plants. Birds flitted between the branches, or something close enough to birds, colorful and jittery, but visibly nervous. The occasional splash from a nearby river suggested fish, though none surfaced. A shadow passed overhead. The canopy shifted. Sol didn't like how quiet the animals were. It wasn't peace, it was suppression. Codex, he said, do a sweep for population activity. Fauna seem secondary. The glasses flickered. A transparent display materialized across his vision, mapping light frequencies, temperature gradients, entropy spikes. Scanning now. Note, native fauna are registering minimal life signs. Activity patterns are erratic, fleeing, hiding. Codex's tone into something close to concern. Photonic behavior is abnormal. Refracted sunlight is pooling in uneven vectors. English, please. Sunlight's bending wrong, like it's been chewed. Sol raised an eyebrow. Chewed. Metaphorically, Codex replied, but with less confidence than usual. Moved toward a beam of sunlight slicing through the canopy. It curled slightly as it passed through the air, not refracted by water or glass, but twisted like it was being steered. A tree leaned toward it, hungrily. The glasses adjusted again. New readings blinked to life. Confirmed. Recursive light distortion detected. Gamma drift rates increasing. The flora appear to be responding to, or causing, the distortion. Sol exhaled slowly, then the side of his glasses to record the data. So the jungle's eating the sunlight, the animals are hiding, and the laws of physics are on vacation. From above, a vine slithered slowly downward, sensing the heat of his body. It hovered just out of reach. He didn't move. I'm going to need something sharp, he muttered. Codex didn't answer yet. She was watching too. Sol didn't wait for the vine to strike. He sidestepped beneath its curling reach, boot heels grinding against the pulsing moss as he scanned the canopy for more movement. The jungle didn't react with surprise, it recalibrated. A dozen limbs shifted imperceptibly, subtly re-aiming. It was no longer interested in his presence. It was targeting his patterns. Codex, he said more tightly now. I need something handheld. Fast. A faint pop from his inner jacket pocket announced the delivery. Codex, assembling the tool's components directly into the space between his jacket lining and his ribs. The way she built everything here. Atom by specific atom, exactly what was needed. Sol reached in without breaking stride and withdrew a compact, unfolding it one-handed into a curved blade with a shimmering edge. He eyed the vine still hovering overhead. Cut first, analyze later. He swung. The blade met the vine mid-drop, slicing through cleanly. A wet, citrus-smelling sap sprayed outward as the severed end thrashed, trying to grasp even after separation. The rest of the canopy recoiled as if in shared pain. Codex's voice was low. Tool delivery successful. Photonic irregularities increasing. Flora is demonstrating reactive behavior not in standard databases. Because it's not flora, Sol muttered. It's hungry geometry. He stepped through a wall of hanging leaves into a clearing where sunlight streamed through the warped air in bars that curled at the ends like antique ribbon. The jungle felt thicker here, not just in matter, but in intent. Trees had grown in spiraled towers, their trunks forming ribcage-like arches around a central beam of twisted light. The beam didn't illuminate the clearing, it pressurized it. Sol his glasses. Codex, run a distortion trace, source triangulation. The glasses pulsed and flickered. Running, partial result, distortion appears to originate from above the canopy. Angle suggests refraction off an atmospheric anomaly. Sol narrowed his eyes. Are you missing data? A pause. Yes. There is a gap in the archive. This section of space-time should be. It is not. Is that normal? No. Well, Sol muttered, when in doubt, bother a bureaucrat. He his glasses twice. Log. A moment later, Log's voice crackled through, clipped and irritated. This is an inappropriate use of my clearance level. Hi to you too, Sol said cheerfully. Question, why is there a chunk of archive missing out here in what I'm calling Jungle Teeth World? Silence, then paper shuffling. That region should be catalogued. It's not. That is impossible. Recheck your sync. It's synced, it's just empty. A pause, then I will elevate the discrepancy. Sol grinned. You don't know, do you? I am escalating. You don't know. Click. The line dropped. Sol chuckled and turned his attention back to the clearing. A rustle in the leaves to his left drew his attention. A long, snake-like tendril snaked toward the riverbank where fish had been splashing earlier. The vine twisted, poised like a heron, then struck, pulling something slick and silver from the water. A flopping fish vanished into the branches. The forest was feeding itself light and meat. Sol crouched low, touching the moss. Codex, what happens to a world when light stops behaving? Photosynthetic collapse. Behavioral dissonance. Eventual reconfiguration or full systemic reset. So, extinction. Codex didn't answer. Sol stood, then noticed the light again. One beam, curling more violently than the others, was aimed directly at a thick-bloomed flower nearby. Its petals writhed and shimmered, pulsing like a heartbeat, and it was watching him. Sol moved slowly toward it, blade still ready. The flower quivered but did not strike. Its petals glistened with dew or maybe blood. The line between beauty and violence was paper-thin here. He adjusted his glasses to magnify the bloom, then blinked to snap a quick scan. Inside the center of the flower was a hard, crystalline structure, fractured. It vibrated faintly, splitting the light around it like a prism with a grudge. Codex, he said quietly, get ready to print something big. The containment cube clicked twice, as Sol strapped it to the storage rack at the edge of his work table. Codex had assembled the portable lab structure directly from the jungle floor's available material, building it up the same way she built everything when she traveled with him, working with what was present, atom by patient atom. The cube's interior shimmered faintly as the malformed flower pulsed inside, steady but stubborn. Codex tracked it through Sol's glasses. Stasis field is holding. Yeah, well, let's hope it doesn't decide to bloom its way out. Sol dusted his hands on his pants and turned his attention back to the light regulator. The device steadily, its needle still anchored deep in the moss. Around it, the forest had gone eerily still, not dead, but calm in a way that felt rehearsed, like it was trying to pass a test. He eyed the nearest trees. Their trunks no longer swayed. Leaves no longer whispered. And yet, something about the silence wasn't right. Codex spoke again, her voice softer. Entropy variance has decreased by 60%. The jungle is adjusting to normalized light flow. Sol crouched and adjusted one of the device's panels, exposing a crystal core that had since activation. He traced the regulator's edges with his finger, checking for cracks. Still stable, but I don't like how quiet it got. Neither do I, he stood and looked toward the horizon, where the warped light still flickered faintly at the tree line, less frequent now, more like a residual memory than active interference. Something caused this, he said. Something precise. This isn't just decay. Codex hesitated. Localized causality shift could suggest external influence. Sol frowned. A tangent bleed. Unlikely. There are no matching logs of recent ride interference. He crossed his arms. Then how does a jungle forget how to use sunlight? I do not know. Sol looked back at the flower in the cube. It pulsed again, fainter this time. What do you think caused it? I think, Codex said slowly, something broke the rules here, something not from this world, possibly not from this system. He considered that. So, outside interference could be another auditor, I guess. Codex paused. There are no current listings besides you. Sol squinted. You didn't say no others. You said no current listings. I am bound by the present tense. He gave her a side-eye through his glasses. Helpful, she offered no reply. Sol stepped back inside the field perimeter, eyes scanning the gently waving trees. One branch twitched just slightly out of rhythm. A bird flew past, only to vanish halfway through the sky like someone had clipped its layer from the frame. That confirmed it. The world wasn't healed, it was just suppressed. Codex, he said, make a note. This place is like a bottle under pressure. We didn't fix it, we just screwed the lid on tighter. Noted. And the flower. Still anomalous. Let's bring it with us. I've got a hunch this isn't the last time we'll see this signature. He packed up the field equipment, locking the light regulator into a hard case. The jungle watched in silence. It would wait, and so would he. Codex opened a return line at the edge of the clearing, reality folding, with the soft rustle of silk being drawn back. The air shimmered where the entrance cut vertically through space, the edge of the rift glowing faintly like the memory of lightning. Sol slung the equipment crate over one shoulder, the containment cube cradled in the crook of his other arm. The flower inside twitched once as if in protest, but the stasis held. You're sure the Chaos Quotient has stabilized? He asked without looking back. 84%, Codex said. Within mission tolerance. Guess it'll have to do. Can't keep babysitting a planet that doesn't want to remember how to photosynthesize. He stepped into the tangent line without ceremony, the jungle snapping shut behind him with a whisper. Inside the ride, Codex adjusted the ambient gravity just slightly, softening the jolt of translation. The line stretched out ahead of Sol like a tunnel made of starlight and molasses, lit with the faint pulse of drifting entropy readings. Small diagnostic readouts floated in the air, overlaying his vision with data only half decoded. Sol caught one flicker in the margin, residual causal ghost detected. He frowned. Codex, what's this? He pointed to the ghost trace. Codex paused. Unclear. It may be an of your light correction. Or a signal remnant from another transit. He narrowed his eyes. Not mine. No matching slope signature. Sol exhaled sharply. Okay, that's new. Codex didn't answer immediately. Instead, she the overlays and brought the ride back into silence. The hum of the line seemed louder without her voice filling the gaps. Codex. A pause, then. There is no confirmed interference, but I will run a deeper scan once we're home. Home. That word landed differently than usual. Planet Codex opened around them with a rush of sound and light, the arrival not like entering a place, but like being recognized by one. The sky held its shifting gradient of soft violet and silver. Floating glass islands moved in slow, deliberate orbits. Trees with phosphorescent leaves adjusted their angle as Sol and Codex came through, the whole surface making the particular small it made when he returned. Atmospheric pressure, ambient temperature, the specific quality of the light. His house stood waiting near a calm river, its windows already glowing with warm light. A stack of clean clothes rested on a chair. The air smelled like cinnamon and rain. You changed the color of the sky again, he said, setting the crate down by the door. I thought it might help you relax. I wasn't tense. Your left eyelid was twitching. He smirked and stepped inside. The living room had already adjusted to his incoming presence, cushions repositioned, a kettle heating in the kitchen, the table surface cleared and reorganized to make space for the cube. Every atom of the environment responding to his return the way it always had, the way he had always accepted as simply how the place worked without examining why it worked so precisely. The malformed flower inside the cube gave one last shiver and then went still. Sol stared at it for a moment. Codex, can you run a cross-reference scan on the bloom, anything that even smells like this from mission archives? I can, but I already have. He raised an eyebrow. And no match, but he waited. There is a file gap, she said finally. A partial entry where something should be. I cannot access it. Sol blinked. You can't access a file. Yes, like corrupted. No, as if it was never permitted to be retained. Sol frowned. How would that even? He stopped. Then his glasses. Call log. The connection clicked. A moment later, Log's voice cut in dry, precise, already annoyed. No, I haven't read your report yet, and yes, your formatting was again abysmal. Hi, Log, quick question. You ever get file gaps in auditor reports? File gaps, a pause, define. Sol leaned back against the counter. Like mission data that should exist but doesn't, as if someone cleared it. That's against protocol. All records are retained, even corrupt ones. Well, Codex found one. File with no content, no metadata. It's like someone black-holed it. Silence. Log. Another pause. Impossible. If that happened, it would mean someone bypassed the archive's checksum layer. So it's a yes. No, it's a don't put words in my mouth. I'll check internally. A beat. What's the entry code? Codex chimed in with a short burst of alphanumeric noise. Log didn't even repeat it back before snapping. Where did you find this? Mission Bloom. Just wrapped up. Jungle with light disorder. Another beat. Unlisted anomaly. That anchor should been sealed. Should. I'll get back to you. And then, without a goodbye, the connection dropped. Sol stared at the empty space where Log's voice had been. Codex said softly, he's upset. He's always upset. This time it was different. Yeah, Sol muttered. I noticed. He looked back at the cube, the flower pulsing faintly inside like it was dreaming. Something's off. Yes, Codex agreed. And it may be watching us. Thank you for listening to the Chaos Quotient. If you want to follow Sol and Codex deeper into the fold, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new chapter. Until next time, stay off the record.